Welcome back. It's Mrs. Bomey again. I'm here to talk you through. Welcome back. It's Mrs. Bomey again, and I'm here to talk you through how to locate photos that you've uploaded using Walsworth's online design. We just recently uploaded this boys varsity water polo photo, and we put it into our training album. Now I can click Done, and it's going to return me to whichever screen I was previously on. So I do want to be on the Photos tab. And now under My Photos in this training album, I have this picture. It says the album's name is Training. We're here in My Albums, and there's one photo available. If I click on the name, it will open it up and I can see the photo. I want to take a look at the photo. So I clicked on it to enlarge it. I have a variety of options in this view. I can favorite this photo. If it's something that I really like and I want to make sure that I can easily access it, kind of like bookmarking it, then I can go ahead and favorite it. I can give it a little R, which is to recommend. And at the moment, I only have the rights to recommend it to someone. So I can look in my list and see who would I like to recommend this photo to. Oh, I'll recommend it to Mrs. Bomey. I want to make sure she knows about this photo because I know she's doing something about boys water polo in the yearbook. Eventually, you'll be able to recommend it to a particular spread. So for example, since this is a pretty good sports photo, you could recommend it to, say, a winter sports spread or to a boys water polo spread. And then people that are looking at that spread would have it drawn to their attention. You can print it or download it, and there are some onboard editing options. We'll get to those a little bit later in another video. Up here, I have the opportunity to rename this if I would like. So right now I have it as Varsity Boys Water Polo Joe Jones. Maybe I want to change and add a little bit to it and say that he's number 2. I want to add that information from his cap. So I could do that. I can click here and move it to another photo album, like Do Not Use, but I'm happy to have it in training. I'm going to leave it there. It tells me the pixels, it tells me the size of the photo and full size inches that I can take it to in order to have it print appropriately in the book. I also know who uploaded it and on what date. And very importantly, I know that this picture is not currently being used on any pages in the book. This is critical information because we absolutely do not want to reuse a photo. If we had a photo here that was being used on a different spread, the page numbers would show, and we could easily then go back to the ladder, see who's in charge of that page, and go have a conversation with that person and see if you really need this photo for your spread, is it possible to negotiate with them and offer up another photo instead of this one, and then ultimately both of you can end up with a very nice spread. It's not always possible, but it's worth a try. Here I have all of the topics that I've added to the photo. So I have boys, because this is a boys sport, and varsity, and winter, because it's a winter sport, and water polo, and then of course I have the photographer's name. What I don't have is anything that says sports. So let me start typing that in, and then sports pops up. I can also, if I want, just sort of thumb through and see if any of these categories grab me, if there's any other way that I should possibly tag it. Well, I definitely want to mark this one as delete because this photo is, of course, from last school year since we don't have any sports going right now. Thank you, COVID-19. I want to be sure to get rid of this photo later. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it as delete. Then down here, this is the place where you can identify the people in the photo. We're only going to identify people associated with our school. We're not going to identify other schools. If you like to know who the opponents are in particular Photos, that would be a good thing to add in right here. You could have topics for all of the schools in your district or your league that you might come in contact with, and you could simply go ahead and identify at least the school. So someone who pulled up this photo would say, hey, I'm not sure what this cap is from, and there would be information that says it's, I don't know who it is, Granite Hills. It's another school in our district. For the student, though, we want to identify the people, generally up to 7 people, but I would say to identify as many people as you possibly can, preferably from left to right. We're going to identify this student. We already know who it is because of the naming up here. So I'm just going to start to type in Joe. Well, when I do that, nothing pops up. So let me try Jones. Well, there he is, Joseph Fake Jones. Because remember in your book, we use people's legal names of record unless we have a special waiver from their parents giving us permission to call them something else. He may go by Joe, and we may all know his name is Joe, but in the book, his photo says Joseph. So I'm going to go ahead and tag that. And now I have all my people identified because, again, we don't do the opponents from other schools. And now I'm ready to close my photo.